Welcome to another edition of Birds of a Feather. This is your girl AJ, the Suburban Princess, back with another edition of 5 questions. This 5 questions is very special to me because this young lady is someone who has helped me get through a very dark part of my childhood, especially my teenage years, by being part of a very cool, funny variety show called Roundhouse on Nickelodeon. And anyone who doesn't know it, you can probably look up and find a few clips. She was one of the dancers slash actresses and one of the most fun to watch. Now, she decided to entertain me with this by doing this segment for me because I have always wanted to ask questions to her, and she gave me all this time, and I really appreciate it. So please welcome Micki to my show.
Hi.
Thank you so much. And as a fan, like I always say, it's really good to get to know you on just more than a level of just being the dancer that I wished I looked like, watching Roundhouse all the time and watching all the fun shows and everything like that. And Mickey's been in numerous things that I've seen throughout, MTV life and all these stuffs I've seen. I was like, there's Micki, there's Micki. Yeah, not a stalker, but
My
just
grandma, that's all.
it's very funny. And I've been an extra, so I know what that's like. I'll be like, see my arm?
Right?
Anyway.
Pause.
Yes,
When they were
exactly.
on DVR,
Yes.
Actually,
Yes.
more before that, it was your VCR. Yeah.
VCR, then DVR, right? Exactly. Now it's like YouTube, you can find anything now.
I
But
know.
but thank you so much. And so we're going to just kick it off with the icebreaker question that I usually start with everybody. And that's why I always ask for just a word, because I know when people go, why one word? And I'm like, because everyone usually thinks of something specific when they remember either something traumatic, good, or whatever. So a word to define 2020 in your eyes, and also 2021, did you have any intentions to fulfill for this year?
Well, I definitely like when I saw that you wrote that, I was like application because I had to apply all of my tools that I have been putting in my pocket, sometimes wondering why am I learning this lesson, and it came to flourish this year. I mean, last year,
Mhm.
and still into this year. I mean, I think we thought that 221, the next day everything's going to be great, and we kind of knew. I think we anticipated that don't get too like hyped up in what you have and expectations for the new year.
Right.
But I really did get scared when it first happened. And then it was about application. All
Mhm.
right. How do you like I had to go from the beginning, like how did you first start? Like that hustle,
Yeah.
and getting out there and making phone calls and doing stuff. Thankfully, having um studios that were available to teach me, but I also knew that I couldn't survive on just teaching 2 classes one there. And I mean, I was, that's how I made my living, and
Mhm.
rent is high in LA. So,
Mhm. Well,
so
there's
I was definitely, having to hustle. And, I really got to also see um, truthfulness, like, and an honesty in people, like in who really was there and who wasn't. So.
Yes. Yeah, I think some of my artist friends can say the same. I think a lot of
And
people
not
spend
that anyone like wasn't trying to support if they couldn't, you know what I mean? It's like
right.
people were also struggling.
Exactly. And that's the thing. My friend's going through
And
that
so
same
I think it really brought us in as a community, correct? And so
yep.
I think that's why when you have, I mean, it's like I've never been into politics as much as I was last year. It was like it was so crazy to see us so divided on one thing that I never really cared about,
Right.
when we really what we needed to happen is this community.
Right. And you value your community more now so than ever. At least I know I do.
Yeah.
Now, because I did indulge in doing yoga with you and also attempting at the sculpt
You
cardio,
did so good. You did so good.
I I had to take a pregnant pause more than once, but whatever.
Yeah, girl.
But
That's what it's all about, though. I think that's also about what I've learned too. It's like my body's not the same as it used to be. Like today, I was like, I started out like I'm gonna be full force, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh my god, like I can't even move my neck anymore. Like,
I know, and I'm telling you, the new promo pictures you had on your social media, I was just like, damn. I was like, you get that much definition in your shoulders, you got to be working, because my wrists are killing me just from doing little things from yoga, just for 30 minutes. So I'm like, God bless you all. But since I've done your beginners level yoga and one of your sculpt classes, what exactly had led you to master yoga as a practice? And was there a specific event or something that made you go, okay, this is going to be part of my lifestyle?
Um, I think at an early age, and I'm glad that my mom, helped me guide into dance.
Hmm.
But I was like, I'm very like, if I love something, I'm like, I'm all in. So with yoga, it was kind of like that. It was like my girlfriend invited me to come take yoga with her, and I'd never done yoga. I think I was like 28, and I was like, I thought it was just gonna be like a friend date, and I was like, oh, I thought it was like people wearing like leotards. I had no idea really what yoga was, and so I got in there, and I was like, it's dance, but on a different level because you're in your body. But now I'm like with my thoughts, and
Hmm.
I was like, ooh. And they did this whole 14-day package of like, $20, and I'm in for the deal. Like, and
Yeah.
so I got hooked, and I really saw something that maybe that I could be good at, but that was gonna help me. And then all I wanted to do was help other people.
Hmm.
And really that's the part of me that I'm so proud of, is that it was no longer just about me, but how much can I learn so that I can help other people. And then now, then 10 years after that, I realized, oh, you're not really helping yourself. You're just faking it. And then I had to go back into my practice. And then I think that's when I grew. And I'm
Gotcha.
still growing, but I had to learn a lot more about it's not just mimicking
Hmm.
your teacher, but actually taking it in,
Hmm.
and adding in your own kind of, helpful hints to life.
It definitely is a practice. I mean, what I'm learning too is I have no patience. So yoga has forced me to give me patience because, and my friend who I take, well, I'm skipping her belly dance class tonight, but she knows like I will get frustrated and I will stop, and she'll be like, don't do that. And I'm just like,
Belly dancing is so hard.
well, and she's amazing at it because
No, I used to take with my mother. Wednesday night together. No, so
yeah. Oh my God, that's cool. And that's the thing, like, okay, it helps my back because I have lower spine arthritis as of like, I guess, early 30s. And I didn't think it was going to do anything. I was just trying to, like you say, help a friend out because she was, again, another person kind of out there, like, what am I going to do now? I can't teach in the studio. So she created her own studio and I took the belly dance. But I think what it did was it gave me more confidence to push through when I was resistant.
hmm.
And it's building up um, my mental stability more than I thought because I get tired, I get irritated, and then I get mad. And my friends always, she can even see me. She's like, you don't think I'm looking at you, but I'm looking at the mirror through the screen and I see you stopping. And I just feel like,
I think it's okay to listen to your body.
yeah, it is. Yes. But
I
she
get
knows me too.
I honor more that than when we get fearful of being shy. Like with belly dancing, I think what I loved was seeing people like, because at the end of the practice, the teacher would have us like all like come into the circle one at a time, and
Hmm.
you do your thing,
Hmm.
and I would be freaking amazed because you would be like chicka chicka chicka, and I was like, she can't go circle, but she can go chicka chicka chicka, and like you have your own thing, and you were so empowered
Yeah.
because you were able to find your thing.
Yes.
But pain, and I guess because as a dancer, I grew up as like pain, don't
Yeah.
talk about
Right.
it. And then I'm like, but I'm dancing, and I'm like, I can't even move my neck really. I can move it now, but I'm like, after the show, I can't. But we
Yeah.
just do.
Yeah. And
I'm proud of
I
you
think she knows me because I quit on a lot of things in life that are
from
hard.
frustration
Yes.
because you
So
want to
she,
be perfect.
huh?
Because you want to be perfect.
That, and also too, I'm also still getting used to gaining weight. Like when you're not used to your new body, I guess as an older woman, you
The
kind of just
220
start,
body. Yes, and that.
you kind of just look at yourself and you still think you're 20 something, but then you're like physically like, oh God, no, I'm not. And then I guess I tell her, I try not to look at her and try to be her because she was like, you do what you can do. She's like, but you got to hold yourself a certain way. She's like, your back doesn't hurt more. So,
True that.
you know what I mean? Like, so she's all about wellness, but yeah, so I love that you said that and brought that up because she'll definitely want to see this too, specifically for that.
Sorry if I ramble on. Oh my God.
Because I mean, she would always want me to recruit people, but I'm always just like, look, I'm trying to promote it and just say it helps me. But
I would love to invite me. No. If it's on my schedule.
Yes.
Because I've been thinking about it. Like, I miss that kind of movement.
And she makes it fun.
And like this woman that I was dancing with my mom got me to dance with a snake. Yeah, remember that movie? But I think it was called Bedazzled or something like that with
Elizabeth. Yeah. Okay. I forget her last name.
Yeah. So they had an after party, and she taught me how to dance with a freaking boa constrictor girlfriend.
Shut up. All right, Miss Britney Spears. Okay.
I know.
She channeling her inner slave. But yeah, no, I will pass it along. She'd be more than willing to work with you. Trust me.
Great.
But okay, so my next question goes through going back to the roundhouse subject, how it got me through high school and even darker days. Did you always want to be in entertainment in that format, or was it just it involved dance? So you were like, I'm good, or was it just something it kind of gave you an avenue to do other things? Did you always want to do it?
No, once I got the bug, I wanted it. I mean, but it happened like so by accident, because I just when I started dancing, that's all I wanted to do. And then I had a grandma who was like a stage mom, and my cousin was involved in commercials, so she was like, "We're gonna get you in commercials," but it really didn't even come up into like I can make a living as a dancer. Because when I had to do it, when I saw that question, I was like, oh my God, I remember being in 4th grade and they asked, like, what do you want to be when you grew up? And it's like, I want to be a dancer. And so you had to look up your occupation. Like, this is when you looked at the newspaper and you had to find a news clip or like an occupation, like, I don't know what it's called, like the classifieds of your job. And all they had was like strippers. And so we had to like cross out stripper. So I'm in 4th grade. So we're crossing out stripper, but dancer, and putting it on my little poster and my little presentation. Anyways, I was at a dance competition and I got discovered. And then right after that, I crashed a Janet Jackson video commercial, not commercial, but audition. I was 12 years old, and even though these girls were putting me in my place, like as far as like stepping on me, it's like I made it to the end and they were like, you're just too young. We just thought you were so adorable, so we kept you. But I learned my lesson, but I knew I had the bug. I was like, I want this. I was like, I love performing. But it was weird. It did change, when I got into yoga, because it became less about being the center of attention and more about how to help other people feel that kind of love.
Yeah.
That you feel.
Yes, because
being seen.
Master it. Yeah, you're right. And that's what I would guess that's where I was going with that question, because I kind of felt like, well, how do you make that transition? Because like you said, it is a bug with acting. And I know I've always wanted to be an actress at some point too. But as I've gotten older, I've noticed that somewhere along the line, like you were stressing community earlier, at some point I wanted to kind of I always like to make people laugh. I always like to, make people feel good too.
Yeah.
And I understand.
I think it's a maturity, right? Instead of like feeding off the laughter, even though that's great too, because like your life, like but it's like I want everyone to feel what that feels like,
right?
And when you do that and everyone is together in that, then you have a community, right?
Yeah, you're right. That's why I was glad to know that I had other people that were suddenly like me, like, does anyone ever remember that show Roundhouse? And then I found all these people and I was like, oh, I was like, I have people. So that was a good feeling to know, because
it was a very special time. It's very sad of how things broke off and what happened with all that, and again, that's politics. But at the same time, it's like I love that people, I didn't know how much I was reaching people.
Yeah.
I just love to dance.
Yeah, I know. And I'm telling you, those dances.
And I was glad to make money doing it. Like,
Right. I mean, I still to this day always will remember you guys, even the guys that they switched as the seasons grew on. And I remembered in their names too, because there were certain numbers that I just loved. There were certain numbers that I just always remembered, and I tried to learn myself, because one, it was good exercise, and two, I just always felt like I knew what I was doing. Because, and then I would do the sign off dance and I would show people I could do the sign off. They would sit there and go, yo, why do you know this? I'm like, you don't understand. It's really fun choreography. Yes. When they reformed it and they did this part, and I was like, I was in love. Okay.
You want to know a crazy story? Okay. So my best friend growing up is Fergie. So so we were in a group together called Wild Orchid, and on New Year's we were talking, and she's moving, and so she brought out a box, and she was like, when I was moving, I had this box of Micki, and it was my letters to her when I left to move to Florida. Mm-hmm. For Nicola for the first season. I'm talking about Ivan. I'm like, oh my God, we're talking. Because I was only, I think, 17 or 16. And so it was like, I had the biggest crush, and we were dance partners. And I was like, I think we're going to kiss. And I was like,
shut up. Oh my, I just wanted to see.
I'm like, oh my God, we were so young, thinking we were so old.
Yeah, I can understand. But it was a fast time too, because now that I look back at it, that little segment of that show means so much to someone like me, because it was like my version of Saturday Night Live, like in a way, you know?
Well, yeah. Well, we were trying to be, what was the next show after that? There was a Two Thumbs Up.
Oh,
Keenan.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Keenan and Kel, yes.
Yeah. Yes. No, not that. No, the Fly Girls were on. What was that show?
Oh, In Living Color.
In Living Color. Because we had the brother of the writer. So he wrote for that show, and like, so that's what they wanted.
Okay.
And then for kids, like they thought that would be a different spin off things.
Yeah. But there were so many, the music alone was killer, but I used to always be proud when every time it ended and they would get to the, reprise the theme song. Anyway.
Who thought that repetition,
Yes. But you were my favorite, because I'm like, that girl is killing it. I said, Micki be all up in there. I'm like, that girl don't miss a step. The hair was long and flowing. I'm like, how does she not get dizzy? I'm like, girl, from be whipping her hair around and be like,
that was my signature. I was the flip. I think that's on my neck is up now. I'm like, oh my God.
All that years, I know. I'm sorry. The hair was a weapon. I was like,
that's what kind of dancer you're like, I'm like a rock. I like to flip.
I know. I'm just like, girl, wow. But also too, the outfits were fun. You guys.
Oh, thank you. That thankfully, I do own my credit for that, because that
fun.
I was very into that. It's funny. Yeah.
It was very fun. But all right, so we'll move off of that. But I wanted to also ask, because a lot of this is kind of like a typical question, but there are always things that I look back at with my teenage life that kind of were a blur. So if you could look back at your teenage self, what advice would you have given her? And do you feel like you followed it now or even as you got older?
Yes. I'd be like, trust your gut, and appreciate your differences, because I used to not. I wanted to look like everybody else. I had my big nose, and didn't say that. I have the original nose of my family, so it's like, I appreciate that so much more now, because it's like, this is
right,
authenticity.
Yes.
Which is so sad when I see people changing all that is them, but it's fine, because I think it's whatever makes you
happy. Yeah. Essentially.
Yeah. And I get it, because I was a young girl and I was like, I hate my nose. Mm-hmm. But it was funny, because you just grow into it. So it's like,
you're right. Yeah, you do. Because there's certain things.
And now I'm just like, well, God, I'd rather have that than something that doesn't fit with me.
Right.
But I think there's the friendship part. I think I took some things way too much more serious than they needed to be. Mm-hmm. And really, like, when I look back at all my girlfriends from my teens into my 20s, like, those were actually the truest of friends. They loved you for all different reasons. We didn't even know what. We just connected. It was so authentic.
Right.
It wasn't about cloud, or it wasn't about who you are, or like all these other different things. Mm. But I'm so glad that we can still, first of all, most of us just reconnect. Mm-hmm. And then we've gotten into a stream of like now having a rhythm of that. Because I think because I'm in my 40s, I think you kind of just realize, oh, that's what's more important.
Yep.
What's inside, not all the things that you've done. You want to encourage people to be successful, but it's not about that.
No.
It's about who you are, right?
Yeah, because the image.
And I think I picked really good in having genuine friends in the beginning. And I got away from that for a second there, and then I came back. So
Yeah. Well, I think we all do that. And I, same with me. I think I find myself too in my 40s. I don't like as many people as I used to. Like, I used to be very much like, come on in and be my friend. And now I'm just like, go away.
Yeah.
You know, because you're, like you said, authenticity. It's like, I don't need it as bad as I used to. So thank God.
I think it's very hard to sometimes for people to be authentic because they're trying to, well, maybe it's in your 30s and 20s, like, they're trying to people please.
Yeah.
And then you realize,
Yep. Absolutely. That was a pain in the butt thing that I had to, I'm still trying to shake a little bit, but not as bad.
well, because we're not perfect, right? We're still gonna have those glitches.
Yeah. Yeah. And every now and then I said, go, "Mm-mm, you don't care about that. Stop." Mm-mm. You know, you have to tap yourself, like, chill out. And also
I
too,
think that this year maybe is going to be about being able to say no to maybe, letting go of those old, the people that are not that are not putting service into your life as far as like as being who you want to be authentically.
right, not adding to it. Yeah, absolutely. I think that saying goes around social media a lot, you know, no more people in my space that don't add to me, you know, or add to any production in my life. No, you're
Which
right.
is hard, I think, because before we were so much, if you're paying me money, I'll be in their life.
Right. Absolutely. And that's why I said as an artist too, it's like as much as I would have loved to have done the starving artist thing when I had the opportunity, I'm just I can't. Like I wish I would have trusted myself more, and I probably would have took a lot more risks on auditions, and I probably would still be auditioning, but there was a point where I was just like, this is a lot of money and a lot of time for me to take off work. Like, I can't just drop everything. And instead,
Yeah. How old are you when you started?
well, I started even probably even late teens, because I know it was between high
Okay.
school and
So were you still living at home?
yeah, I'm back home with my mom, yeah, and trying to figure out which I want to do with my full-time job, but it's a whole adjustment period again,
Well,
because
be
I
thankful that
know.
you have that. I mean, like I had that and I was like, I am not, only because of my ego. And I was like, well, if I have to, I can't.
Right,
I was so thankful
right, yeah, that's why I say, like,
because there's people like we see, like they can't, like they're living on the streets, and it's
and
what would
that's
you
the
rather?
thing. That's the thing. Like, and people sometimes you just can't listen to everybody either too, because people always make you feel like, well, you're just not that hungry then if you're not willing to drop everything and just go to Hollywood and be famous. And I'm just like, and do what? Like, I'm like, I heard about those. Madonna had $30 in her pocket. And next thing you know, you don't know what she did to survive, though. And I'm not a fan. Like, I'm just,
Yeah.
I really want some sort of security, but whatever,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. And there's a lot, I mean, there's a lot of dirtiness that happens. I mean, thankfully I was young enough that I didn't have to,
Yeah.
do that, but there was propositions that happened there and it was like, it was very scary
Mm-hmm.
at those
Yeah.
times.
Yeah.
But because I almost got raped once. It was like there's a lot of stuff that happens that people, yeah, I know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
But
Well,
but no, they're all, to me, it's like they think of them as learning lessons. Like
yeah.
if you catch those signs, it was so weird when all that I was getting into something else, but
No, this is fine. Go ahead.
no, the Weinstein thing, like it's like when all that stuff was going down of like all this stuff with the basically like a casting couch, what they call it.
Yeah.
It was like you get put in this situation and you're like, oh my God, I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, how do I get out of it? Because you don't want to be impolite to the man. And so it's so great. I think that everything gets opened up. And that's why I think 2020 was great. And so was, 2019,
Mm-hmm.
is because we all of a sudden we're talking about this out loud.
Yeah.
Oh, this happened to me. This happened to me. It's like, so all of us are lying? No.
Right.
There might be a few, but no.
No, there's some people
Oh
that,
my God. So it's like,
yeah, that's
if other people know, then the next time that little girl is in that position, she's gonna be like, oh, no, this is what they're talking about. Okay, my don't listen to him. Don't touch his dick. Got tied up. I was like, don't let him tie you up. I was like this weird thing that doing to you. You're like, because you're so young, like, this is okay, I guess. Why
right. It's survival. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. And I don't know if I trusted my instinct well enough when I was younger to really see those signs, because I was very, looking back now, I'm like, I was clueless. Like, you could just, thing would go over my head and I'd be like, okay.
Well, your path is different, right? This could like be some, like there's a new Oprah, it's like it could be anything.
Look, all I know is that I think I'm not scared to be wrong this time, as should I say, or take a little more of a risk. So I'm thankful for that, even wanting to be instilled. I'm like, thank you, Lord, because I'm like, I know I'm not where I want to be, but I know that there are just some things that I'm not willing to do um, to get to that point anymore. So, but whatever. But since I'm looking at you now with your pretty face, I wanted to ask, do you have like any kind of products that you love right now? Because everyone.
I brought my stuff with me. So,
Yes, I was like, please share, because Lord knows
so
us
you
women
can't
are
see it.
very
Okay, so
behind.
it's called Skin Script. This is the cleanser that I use.
Okay.
Um, and it's just an all natural green tea citrus cleanser. It's like it's not anything high price. You can get it. I bought mine on Amazon, but I used to get it from the woman that gave me facials,
Mm-hmm.
and I love their moisturizer too. It's the Aki Berry.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, but between that, like after my workouts, I always try to use this. I either use a scrub, but I was also told Jelly Glow Peel from Bliss.
Okay.
Can't even show
I
this.
know you can't even see.
Yeah, so bad. Anyways, terrible commercial. But what I also learned is that this because of the mascony,
Mm-hmm.
there's this thing called cool the topical management, and goodness gracious, I wish you could see it.
Yeah.
Now it's anyways, it's a wound dressing gel, so I'm sure you can get that like any other brand.
Mm-hmm.
But I put it here because of how much I have to wear my mask because
Yeah.
I'm going and teaching privately.
Yep.
Um, so but my favorite thing to tell people
Mm-hmm.
is when you get bags in the morning, preparation H.
I thought that was a beauty pageant secret.
I know, but I love it when people like they notice it from the bag and like, what are you putting? Like, anyways,
Yeah.
that's easy. But I found a new one that has it all in one because sometimes it's like I have to put like some Acufer or Vaseline.
Mm-hmm.
Rock has this retinol correction anti-aging. You can't see it anyways, but it's amazing. It's actually even better. I can feel it as it's working. It's like boop.
Because it's pulling. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I know that's the new product thing that everyone's getting, is something with retinol in it to help keep the
I guess
firmness.
so, yeah.
Yeah. Because for me, I know I just have the cystic acne by as I gotten older. So it's like, especially with the maskne, I have to get stuff specifically around here. I'm learning. Do you have a jade roller? Because I know a jade roller is a hot item now. Do you do any of
No,
those?
I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's different. Like when I break out, it's mostly like it's here,
Mm-hmm.
and then like my nose is always like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And
Same. T-zone here specifically, I guess because I also sleep on my side, and then stuff, whatever's in my hair rubs on my face. I need to
that's
get
like the worst. Yeah, when I'm wearing my hair curly, I get more breakouts. It's
right,
crazy.
right. So that's why I'm keeping mine short now, because I'm like, I'm tired of the drama. But it's always here now, and I find that jade rollers are supposed to help with like inflammation around here, especially when I
Have
have
you
cystic acne.
ever gone to the dermatologist and gotten like some other kind of treatments that they
Yeah,
have?
I have gotten a cream. They try to get me on this little supplement like takes, and I was just forgetting because I also take medication for other things. So it's like,
Oh, okay.
I'm sick of pills. Like, give me cream
No,
to put it at night when I have a
I'm going through the change, and so it's like they're trying to talk me into like doing the.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, because I'm like, when girlfriends just like, stop talking about perimenopausal. Ain't nobody trying to hear it right now.
During this whole thing, I've been like hot flashing. I'm like,
And I've been hot since birth, so I would know the difference. I would tell my mom.
It's so funny because I was watching Golden Girls, and I'm like, Blanche is going through menopause. I'm like, that's why we didn't think it was gonna happen to us. Like, we think like it's gonna happen when you're like 80 years old.
Right,
Like,
right. Now it's like, hello, 42. It's like, now I'm starting to sit here and going,
I'm just hot. Like,
all the time. That's why I said, like, I won't know the difference. And I'm worried that like one day I'm literally going to spontaneously combust in bed. Like, I'm just going to poosh and I won't even know what happened. I'll just be like, rapture. But no, but I wanted to bring that up specifically too, because one of the things I always know as you're getting older is just that, especially with you being into the yoga lifestyle, I know I want to try to kind of bring everything in alignment. So I want to try to work on my skincare, and I want to work on my weight management, and just being happy with the curvy and all that stuff, trying to be intertwined. So it's like, of course, because I always loved watching you on Roundhouse, it's like, but I always loved your skin tone. So I always say it's like, I'm sure when you're going through entertainment and they switch like makeup on you, or if you're doing your own makeup or whatever, did your skin go through it? Because I'm thinking you probably had to do a lot of random, you know,
Hiccups.
makeup
Yeah.
sessions, people touching your beating your face to death. It's like, did you ever do masks? That type of stuff. So I always was curious about that. But as I ended, I do want to be able to let you promote whatever you want to promote, because obviously you teach classes, and who knows, like by the time I post this, people are probably gonna be like, well, what does she teach? So
Well,
if you
I do
can.
have my website now. It's just, I mean, it's just getting started. So
Mhm.
yeah, it's called Getting Fit with Mick.
Okay.
BETTINFITMIC. So
I see. Okay.
MICK, sorry, .com. So
Okay.
I know, I'm like, I always get confused. Like, is this?
I was gonna ask. I'm like, is she being the chic with just the C and not the K? Yeah.
No, I think I had to do the K. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's all like legal reasons. I mean, like because someone else took it. So like when I bought the domain.
Right.
Um,
Okay. And I
yeah.
taught classes on it and stuff.
How do you do this? No, it's so great to feel like you have something to offer to other people to learn, because it also makes you realize how much you've learned and what you've grabbed from other people.
Hmm. I do admire every now and then, even though I was like, I'm not doing it. But when you do the back bends, I'm always thinking to myself, my friend Emma is trying to do that too. And I'm thinking like, she just be going all the way back. And I'm like, wow, that's discipline, because you don't just smack and collapse. You have to learn how to trust and
Well,
going
yeah,
back.
but there's also like, I mean, you have to think about like I started doing it at a younger age and being more flexible.
Right.
So it's just keeping up with that. Like if you're starting when you're older, your body is like we tighten. We're like
Yeah.
life. Oh,
Yeah. Rigid. Totally
so
rigid. They're like, nope. Head start.
well, I think the craziest thing for me is as a teacher, like seeing like oh that everyone can do this, but seeing like the beauty and there's other ways to get this to open. So never feel like you have to do that kind of back bend
Hmm.
to get open. I mean, you can do this like by being at the wall and stretching it out, because we need to, life is pretty challenging in itself of like its struggles. So we, as
Yep.
natural human beings, we're
Yep. I
here.
have to remind myself to open my carriage up a lot. Yeah.
Big boobies.
No, this is a good bra. This is Savage Fenty, honey.
Like it's a lot of weight,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's just like rotation, so there's a lot. But whenever I do, I mean, like sometimes it's like they're hard, and like I'm like, oh my god, I feel like everything just kind of released, because your
Mhm.
spine moving in that direction, all of a
Yep.
sudden, like boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, because I try to meditate
Get
more.
better.
I meditate a lot, like a lot during the week, especially because work kind of can stress me out at times. And
Good for you.
yeah, meditation definitely has been a practice in itself. I mean, I have an app, I do the Metatopia app, and I try to, listen to them every morning. Um, my job offers this community online academic classes where you can kind of just join from all over. And so there's a girl from London that does like a guided meditation on Thursdays at 7 a.m. Eastern time. So I just did that today. And then I did our little group we have at my job. We do it for like 25 minutes and listen to like a 10% happier guided meditation. So for me, it's good because I'm always very anxious. So it's like I have to kind of do it a lot, especially when I'm working from home. So yeah, I find myself that has been something as I've gotten older, I'm getting better at, because I know when I can get a little hyper and crazy. And, being at home with mom, your mother's always got to remind you, like, oh, there you go.
God bless you. Although my mom has calmed down a lot, so it's. I mean,
Your mom is gorgeous. I'm like saying, like, you probably are probably like the mother more than her, because I'm looking at your mom like, holy crap, she's gorgeous.
My mom, yeah, my mom.
She is gorgeous. She had the hat on, and the one shot, it was probably an older shot, but it was just like she got the hat on. I said, yeah.
This year she didn't wear a hat, yeah.
Yes, yes. I was like, go ahead, girl. I see it. But yeah, my mother is very practical, very reserved, but I entertain her. So I think that's how we work at times, especially being at home. But do I miss having my own spot? Yes. And hopefully this year sometime I'm probably gonna go back out and venture out. But yeah, like being through quarantine, I've definitely learned to just do a little more yoga. I'm trying to get discipline with Pilates. It's a lot of repetition, and my core is like, no, but I'm trying to work on it. And yeah, so it's been helpful. But that's why another reason I wanted to interview as well, because your whole transition from when I remembered you as a dancer and now seeing you do this, I'm just like, wow, she looks amazing. And people who have a yogi or have, like my friend who does belly dance, people have a glow who really love what they do. And, I know that that's,
I think that's what it's about, right? Finding what you love to do. I knew I always wanted, I love, movement helps me.
mhm,
And I think, um, I was very thankful when we go back to the beginning of like application,
yeah,
because if I didn't continue to move my body and to teach and
mhm,
to actually know there was a purpose to my life, I battled with depression. So I knew that that was going to unfold. And so,
yep,
um, it's like, no matter like, it's like, oh, but you're so tired. I'm like, yeah, but if there's the opposite, like of where I
right,
have to find the balance, it's like let your body rest. But if
mhm,
I'm not having a purpose every day, then I fall into this very dark hole.
yeah,
Like, why are you here? Which
yeah, I can
is
understand
just
that.
my thing.
Yeah, I can understand it. My whole thing is as long as you have that outlet, because I think that's why I even, besides the fact she was my best friend, but I support her because what she does is so lively for someone like me, because she knows I can get sedentary and I don't want to be bothered. And she'd be like, why don't you try a class? Why don't you try another class? And then next thing you know, it just became my icebreaker, because like you, I do get in depression, I get in modes,
Yeah.
and yeah, and I battled with that for years.
Right. And it's, well,
Yeah.
at the same time, it's easy to open up, but like we've been like shut down. I think it's always like
Right.
you get like, oh, well, I'm just gonna be
Yeah, yeah,
myself.
yeah, yeah.
I'm funny about myself. This is funny. Like,
Right, right, right. And that's the thing. Like people like me are probably fine with this quarantine up until a certain point.
yeah,
But
I know. I'm like,
yeah,
this is perfect.
this is wonderful. I'm like, what are you talking about? This is great. But meanwhile, my other friends are like, I'm dying. I need to go outside. Why are the bars open? And I'm just like, just go pick up something and go home and chill out. So now people just take
I'm glad
walks.
we had a harder time, the people that had to be out all the time. But it
Yeah,
was crazy to realize as a hermit that I was like, oh my God, I need more
yeah,
things to do as involving people,
right.
whether I know them
Absolutely.
or not, whether it's just like stopping and like having a conversation with somebody.
Yeah, you revel in that, like little things of me just going out to the store, grocery store, and I have a conversation with someone. I'm just like, why do I feel like I missed this? I'm like, I
I
didn't
know.
know. I'm buying my like third bottle of wine for the month, and I'm just like, oh hey, people start
Yeah,
talking about,
but I think it's the
you know,
simpleness. I mean, like, because I used to remember my grandpa. I was like, he was so like he knew everybody in the neighborhood. Hi, like, he's like, and I
yeah,
love that.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm seeing people I didn't even know lived in our neighborhood that are walking around our block, and I'm like, I know they don't live here. I'm like, who are these people? But when it's nice, and it was like when it was for a while, like 70 degrees, I would sit on the porch and I would work on, before the bees start attacking. But I would sit on the porch and just stretch out and just watch people, and I would be like, this isn't too bad. I'm like, but not everybody got a porch, so I don't know. Some people just don't know what to do. They're like, if I'm outside, I'm in the street. What am I supposed to do? So yeah, you're right. But I thank you so much for doing this
Thank
with
you.
me
And by
because
the way, you look beautiful. If there's anything going on, I cannot see it. So if whatever you're
thank
doing,
you.
keep going.
Thank you. Yes, Range Beauty, shout out because they're awesome. I tweet
No,
them.
you look gorgeous, and even from within, it's like so maybe it's everything combined.
I'm hoping from your lips to God's ears, because Lord knows I need to keep it moving so it's showing good. Thank you. But yeah, so definitely I will indulge again. I think I will do another sculpt class with you eventually.
I hope so. I
I
know
know.
it gets challenging. I think I should develop like something that's like more because I do have one with one student where it's like we don't do such crazy stuff, but
Mhm. Well, you know what? If you want, did you?
something for everybody.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I was trying to challenge myself even when I first did that, because I'm like, it was intermediate at the time. And I was just like, well, I need to move my body. But I think I got through the first 30 minutes and I was just like, whew, she's already on the other side. Lord Jesus. And I was so glad you were at least checking in. You were like, AJ, you still there? I'm just like, I'm like, girlfriend, I ain't moved in like 3 weeks. I'm gonna need you to chill. But no, I'm thankful for you, and I'm so thankful that I do you have people following you on IG? Did you want to put that out there, or your IG?
Yeah, you totally. It's I feel embarrassed when I say it. Official Micki Duran. It's
Yes.
only because Micki Duran was taken. Like,
Look, only us Roundhouse people know there probably are people that want to be there. So yes, you have to say official.
no,
There's
like,
only one.
I'd be surprised. I'm like, there's more than one Micki Duran. What?
Shoot, everybody wants to be everybody on social media. That's the sad part.
Oh my
But
God, I hacked it and I can't even figure out how to do my freaking Facebook
I
thing.
know
Like,
your Facebook, and I thought that was the trick, but who knows what they're doing right now with everything with
well, yeah, it's a whole, like, I finally got it so that it doesn't have that person's email because it was going to send everything to them. And I'm like,
Right.
well,
Good.
how do I get it so that, but now they're asking for a generator code. And I'm like,
Yeah, because that's how they now they're doing that because
I'm into the Facebook,
yes, it's a whole thing now because even I've locked myself out and I think I have like 3 other profiles that I don't even remember setting. So I'm just like, oh.
Well, then because they're asking for your ID and I'm like, I did it once and I'm like, oh, wait, was this
yeah.
am I falling into the trap?
That's what I feel like. You always feel like you see that thing on Netflix about, the logarithms.
We're gonna pick you up and arrest you if you don't, process money. I'm like, what?
Those random phone calls that I swear is why I changed my cell phone because I thought I was getting arrested.
This
Horrible. They wore me down. And that was the one day I remember I was in my apartment and I was having issues with the guy that was trying to fix my gas tank or something. And then on the same day, I get a call it dialed up 911 and it said, you're going to be arrested for whatever. And I was just like, what? I was like, the gas guy just turned on me and got me in jail. Like, I'm just thinking all these things. And
right times. It's like, what? But I know that's the universe. Like, and how are you going to process this?
Yes, because I'm just like, yo, I ain't never done a bad thing other than not pay a bill once or twice. That's about it.
Well, the weird thing when the tax thing happened, it was like, I was like, no, we just handled all this because they thought there was an extra zero. So they were like, that's a big difference. Like,
right.
Zero of owing,
Yes.
And so thank God. And I was like, if I wasn't at my yoga studio with my teacher, it was like, hang up the phone, Micki. It's a hack call. And I was like, oh, okay.
I can't tell you how many aunts were literally going crazy, like, oh my God, they're gonna. I was like, no, time out.
Right. Like, how are they gonna find you? Like,
right. Oh. Right. I said, somebody about to get popped because I'm telling you right now, that's just not fun to play with right now. Everybody's sensitive about the stimulus and not getting it or whatever. So I'm like, please don't mess with people's money. But yes, I thank you so much for doing this. And
sorry, this was so long. I'm such a rambler. Okay.
That's okay. No, I love it because for me, I'm like, good. I don't feel bad because I thought I was going to be the one be like, I'm just throwing too much stuff at you. But I thank you so much, Micki. And definitely I will get in touch with you again about a future class. And anybody who watched this podcast, if you're watching my channel, just know that this girl's can work you out, but you'll feel great. Trust me. Don't go by me. And I definitely think that yoga is good for anybody. So definitely watch Micki. You're a very good teacher I'll say that for sure. Because I never feel lost. I just get tired.
Okay.
So you do guide very well. So you definitely earn that certification. But anyway, so yes, Birds of a Feather, 5 questions. This is Micki, everybody. And thank you for joining. And talk to you next time.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.